The genuine presence and support of people in our lives are essential for building healthy and meaningful relationships. However, not everyone around us shows the same level of consideration and respect. In this video, we'll explore 4 behaviors that may indicate someone doesn't value you. These signs can manifest in various ways, from a lack of attention during critical moments to actions that undermine your achievements and feelings. By recognizing these patterns, you can make more informed decisions about your relationships, prioritizing those who truly care about you and your well-being. Let's identify these behaviors together and understand how we can surround ourselves with people who genuinely value us. 1. Disrespect and betrayal. When someone constantly seeks to be the center of attention in every conversation, it often reflects a deep level of self-absorption that affects their relationships. This behavior can show up in many ways, such as consistently redirecting conversations back to themselves or downplaying the contributions of others. In social settings, these individuals tend to monopolize discussions, leaving little room for others to share their own experiences or thoughts. Research indicates that people with narcissistic traits often seek constant praise and validation, frequently at the expense of forming genuine connections with others. For example, in a group, a narcissistic person might repeatedly interrupt or steer the conversation to highlight their own achievements or experiences. This pattern not only diminishes others' contributions, but also reinforces the idea that their perspective is the most important. Over time, this can alienate friends and colleagues who feel overlooked or undervalued in the relationship. In the workplace, self-absorbed individuals may prioritize their own advancement over teamwork. They might claim credit for collective achievements or sabotage colleagues' efforts to stand out. Studies show that workplaces with high levels of narcissism among employees can experience declines in productivity and morale due to a lack of collaboration and trust. In personal relationships, a partner who dominates every conversation with their own victories or problems may fail to provide the emotional support needed by the other person. This imbalance can lead to feelings of neglect or frustration, as the needs and emotions of the less dominant partner are constantly ignored. According to psychological studies, narcissism can stem from childhood experiences where individuals were either excessively praised or neglected by caregivers. This early environment may have created the belief that their needs are more important than those of others. As a result, they may struggle to feel empathy for others' perspectives or prioritize their feelings in interactions. For instance, narcissistic individuals may show a lack of empathy for others' struggles or emotions, focusing solely on how situations affect them personally. This self-centered perspective can hinder the development of meaningful connections and the maintenance of close relationships, as empathy and reciprocity are essential for healthy interpersonal dynamics. In social psychology, narcissism is often associated with an inflated self-image and a constant need for admiration. Research suggests that people with high levels of narcissism tend to show lower levels of empathy and compassion for others, as their focus remains primarily on their own desires and aspirations. For example, in therapeutic contexts, clients with narcissistic traits may seek help for issues like depression or anxiety, but struggle to engage in meaningful self-reflection or acknowledge the impact of their behavior on others. Therapy can help narcissistic individuals develop healthier relationship patterns by encouraging self-awareness and empathy. When someone dominates every conversation and shows little interest in the lives or feelings of others, it can be a sign of underlying narcissistic tendencies. This behavior affects not only interpersonal relationships, but also reflects a deep need for validation and admiration. Recognizing these patterns can help individuals seek support and develop healthier ways to relate to others, fostering more balanced and satisfying connections in their personal and professional lives. Encountering such individuals can be both attractive and exhausting. Their ability to capture attention may initially seem charismatic, drawing others into their sphere. However, over time, their self-centeredness becomes apparent. You may find yourself wishing for a more meaningful conversation, where your thoughts and feelings are valued as much as theirs. This dynamic can strain relationships, as the imbalance of attention can leave one party feeling neglected or undervalued. In social contexts, These individuals often shine in the art of storytelling, captivating audiences with their engaging narratives. Their stories frequently revolve around personal achievements or dramatic experiences, subtly reinforcing their role as the central figure. Redirecting conversations to a more inclusive exchange can be challenging, but it is essential to ensure everyone feels heard and respected. Ironically, their constant quest for affirmation can lead to a superficial understanding of others' lives. Genuine empathy takes a back seat when conversations are relentlessly centered on their own world. They may overlook signs of discomfort or interest from others, perpetuating a cycle of self-centered dialogue. This lack of social awareness can damage friendships and professional relationships, as others struggle to connect on a deeper, mutual level. From a Stoic perspective, this behavior sharply contrasts with the ideal of virtue and altruism. Stoics emphasize the importance of empathy and understanding in building meaningful connections. A self-absorbed individual, immersed in their own narrative, may miss opportunities for personal growth and true connection. Their focus on validation through external attention perpetuates a fragile self-esteem, dependent on constant affirmation rather than intrinsic values. Dealing with self-centered individuals requires patience and self-awareness. Understanding their need for validation can foster compassion, allowing for a deeper understanding of the roots of their behavior without encouraging it. Setting boundaries is crucial, affirming your own need for reciprocity in conversations and relationships. By gently redirecting dialogue to shared interests or inviting others to share their perspectives, you can promote a more balanced exchange where all voices are heard. In some cases, directly confronting self-absorption may provoke introspection and positive changes. Honest feedback, offered with empathy and respect, can lead to self-reflection and awareness of how their behavior affects others. This approach requires tact and sensitivity, balancing mutual respect with the need to address communication imbalances. Finally, understanding the dynamics of self-centeredness goes beyond the surface. It delves into the complexities of human behavior, revealing insecurities and psychological patterns that shape interpersonal interactions. By promoting empathy and seeking genuine connections, we can navigate these dynamics with integrity and compassion, honoring both our own needs and those of others in our social circles. 2. Ghosting in communication. The phenomenon of ghosting has become a common practice in modern relationships, especially in online interactions. It is characterized by the sudden stop of contact by one party, without any explanation or warning. For those who are victims of this behavior, the feelings of rejection and confusion can be devastating, as the lack of closure creates an emotional void. Psychological studies show that ghosting triggers areas of the brain related to physical pain due to the feelings of abandonment it evokes. This behavior is common in romantic relationships, but can also occur in friendships or even in professional settings. People who resort to ghosting often avoid dealing with the discomfort of confrontation or breakups, preferring to disappear rather than face a difficult conversation. In many cases, this choice reflects emotional immaturity or an inability to handle conflicts. By simply cutting off communication, they escape the responsibility of providing explanations, leaving the other person at the mercy of assumptions and uncertainties. In digital relationships, where interactions can be more superficial or quick, ghosting has become even more common, but that doesn't lessen the emotional impact on those who experience it. According to Stoic philosophy, ghosting can be seen as an opportunity to practice detachment and emotional resilience. Stoics teach that we do not control the actions of others, only how we react to them. Although being ghosted can be painful, Stoicism encourages acceptance of the situation as part of life, focusing on strengthening one's character and emotional independence. This perspective allows the ghosted person not to cling to the desire for answers or justifications, accepting that the other person's behavior is beyond their control. Thus, the practice of ghosting, while harmful, can also be a valuable lesson in self-control and emotional overcoming. Looking back in time in the brilliant court of Elizabeth I, the game of power was as subtle as it was relentless. The queen, famous for her political cunning, surrounded herself with courtiers and advisors who competed for her favor. But this court, although filled with intellectuals and artists, was also a minefield of betrayals and volatile alliances. Behavior in the court was governed by complex codes of etiquette, where a misplaced word or an unsuspecting glance could trigger social decline. Elizabeth, a single monarch, used her status to manipulate power dynamics, often encouraging rivalries among her courtiers to keep them under control. This period also saw the rise of figures like Sir Francis Walsingham, the master of Elizabethan espionage. While nobles danced to the tunes of political intrigues in the court, Walsingham operated in the shadows, assembling a vast network of spies and informants to protect the kingdom from external and internal threats. Elizabeth's era was marked by conspiracies against the crown, the most famous being the Babington Plot, which aimed to depose the Queen and place her cousin, Mary, Queen of Scots, on the throne. The court, with all its glory and splendor, was also a place where distrust and betrayal ran rampant, and where the fall of a royal favorite could be as swift as their rise. This bustling environment of political and emotional intrigues contrasted sharply with the public image Elizabeth constructed. The Queen was known for her ability to project strength and serenity, even amid the storms of the court. She often appeared in magnificent attire, surrounded by an almost divine aura of power. However, behind this impenetrable facade, Elizabeth faced immense pressures, including the constant threat of Spanish invasion and the need to maintain balance among rival factions within her own government. Her court, despite its shine and sophistication, was a place of great tension where loyalties were tested and broken within days. In the field of arts, 20th century Mexico was marked by the presence of two of the most iconic figures of Latin American culture, Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera. Their relationship, often tumultuous and deeply intense, was a fusion of art, politics, and passion. Frida, known for her expressive and painfully honest self-portraits, and Diego, a monumental muralist and political activist, formed one of the most talked-about partnerships of the time. Their marriage was marked by mutual betrayals, but also by an artistic and intellectual respect that transcended their personal conflicts. Frida and Diego symbolized, in different ways, the complexity of Mexican identity after the revolution. While Diego painted large murals depicting the struggles of workers and the aspirations of the Mexican people, Frida explored pain and personal identity in her artwork. Their works were rooted in their own life experiences, including physical suffering, relationships, and their connection to their homeland. Through her art, Frida addressed themes of pain, femininity, and cultural identity in a unique and profound way, becoming an icon not only in Mexico, but around the world. Although the two artists shared a deep mutual admiration, their relationship was far from smooth. Diego, a notorious unfaithful, had affairs that left Frida devastated. In turn, Frida also sought comfort in other relationships, both with men and women. Despite the infidelities, the bond between the two was never completely broken. They continued to support each other, both personally and professionally. The complexity of their relationship was reflected in their art, where love, pain, and betrayal were intertwined inextricably. Frida, with her visceral and intimate approach to art, offered a raw and personal insight into her internal and physical struggles, while Diego, with his monumental murals, addressed broader social and political issues of his time. Even amid so much personal turmoil, Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera remained connected by a deep creative and ideological complicity. Frida, despite the betrayals and the pain she endured, found in Diego a constant source of inspiration and challenge. Diego in turn recognized Frida's extraordinary talent and admired her ability to transform her pain into visceral art that challenged the boundaries between the personal and the political. Their relationship transcended the conventional, marked by breaks and reconciliations, but always grounded in an undeniable connection that kept them united until the end of their lives. Frida's health was a crucial factor in her artistic journey and in her relationship with Diego. Since the severe bus accident in her youth, which left her with permanent physical sequelae, to the multiple surgeries and complications she faced over the years, chronic pain was a constant in her life. However, it was this very pain that fueled the emotional depth of her works. In her self-portraits, Frida emotionally stripped herself, revealing both her physical and emotional wounds. She tackled themes that were taboo for many, such as infertility, femininity, betrayal, and the fragility of the human body, transforming suffering into an affirmation of her own existence. In her later years, Frida Kahlo became an increasingly recognized figure, both in Mexico and internationally. Her works, which had initially been overshadowed by the grandeur of Diego's murals, gained prominence for their originality and emotional power. Even with her health deteriorating, she continued to paint and participate in exhibitions, being acclaimed for her unique vision of the human condition. In her last exhibition, Frida was taken on a bed to the event, refusing to let her physical fragility keep her away from her audience and her art. Diego, always by her side, remained a loyal companion until the end, despite all the turmoil. The complexity of this relationship goes beyond infidelities and personal dramas. Frida and Diego were, above all, two artists deeply committed to their visions of the world, and this mutual dedication to art and politics was what united them so inseparably. Although their lives were marked by episodes of pain and betrayal, their contributions to art and Mexican culture continue to inspire generations. Frida, with her intense introspection and sharp focus on identity, and Diego, with his monumentality and political vision, formed one of the most extraordinary couples in art history. Are you enjoying this video? If you want to keep learning how to apply Stoic principles to transform your life, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment, "I value those who are present," and share how the support of others impacts your life. Stay until the end of the video. Lesson 4 will impact your life and make you a true master in building meaningful and healthy relationships. Thank you for watching the video. Let's go. 3. Center of attention. When someone relentlessly seeks to be the center of attention in every conversation, it often reflects a deep level of self-absorption that impacts their relationships. This constant need to stand out shows up in various ways, like redirecting conversations to themselves or downplaying others' contributions. In social settings, these individuals tend to monopolize interactions, using the attention of those present to boost their ego and reaffirm their worth. They interrupt discussions, steer dialogues off course, and even turn minor comments from others into opportunities to talk about their own experiences or achievements. Over time, this behavior can alienate friends and colleagues who may begin to feel undervalued or ignored. At first, the ability to dominate a conversation might be mistaken for charisma, but as interactions repeat, it becomes clear that the need to be in the spotlight reflects more of a search for validation than a genuine connection with others. Studies show that people with narcissistic traits often exhibit this pattern of behavior, seeking attention and praise compulsively while rarely offering the same level of interest or empathy to others. In a professional environment, this type of person can have an even more negative impact. They often seek to stand out, frequently at the expense of colleagues and subordinates. By claiming credit for collective achievements or positioning themselves as the main contributors to a project's success, they can harm team cohesion and undermine trust among members. The result is a toxic work environment where collaboration is hindered and productivity may significantly decline. Those who don't receive the recognition they deserve may start to feel demotivated, leading to internal conflicts and the loss of talent. In personal relationships, this dynamic is reflected similarly. A partner who monopolizes conversations, only talking about themselves, their victories, or their frustrations, often overlooks the emotional needs of the other person. Over time, this can create feelings of neglect and devaluation in the partner, who finds themselves in a relationship where their emotions and issues are consistently ignored or minimized. This imbalance in communication can lead to frustration and emotional strain, causing the relationship to deteriorate. The roots of this behavior, according to psychological studies, may lie in childhood experiences, where the individual might have been excessively praised or, conversely, neglected. This early environment creates an expectation that their needs are always the most important, making it difficult to develop empathy and understand others' feelings. In friendships, these people tend to show little interest in their friends' struggles or emotions, always focusing on themselves. This can damage the depth of connections, making it hard to maintain lasting and meaningful bonds. Even though they may be seen as charismatic at times, these individuals ultimately reveal a self-centered and superficial worldview. Their ability to captivate those around them, initially impressive, becomes exhausting over time, as others realize there's no room for genuine exchange. The lack of genuine empathy and the constant focus on themselves leads to a shallow understanding of others' lives and feelings, perpetuating a cycle centered only on their own needs and desires. From a Stoic philosophy perspective, this behavior strongly contrasts with the ideals of virtue and altruism. While Stoics advocate for the importance of empathy, moderation, and wisdom in human interactions, the person who constantly seeks to be the center of attention shows a deep disconnection from these principles. Instead of striving for inner improvement and control over their own emotions, this person relies on external validation to feel valued, creating a fragile self-esteem that constantly needs reinforcement. Dealing with people who have this continuous need for attention can be quite a challenge. It requires patience and a deep understanding of the motivations behind this behavior. Compassion, while essential, must be balanced with the firmness of setting clear boundaries. By redirecting conversations towards a more equitable exchange, involving other participants, and highlighting the importance of all voices, it's possible to create a healthier and more respectful environment, both in personal and professional contexts. Ultimately, it's important to recognize that behind this constant search for validation, there are often deep insecurities. By understanding the roots of this behavior, we can adopt a more empathetic stance without neglecting our own well-being. Confronting these attitudes directly, when necessary, can promote positive changes, encouraging greater self-awareness and empathy in interactions. In this way, both the individual and those around them can benefit from more balanced and meaningful relationships. 4. Absence in times of need. Absence in times of need is a form of betrayal that often goes unnoticed at first glance, but its consequences are deep and lasting. When we expect support or solidarity from someone, whether in a personal crisis, moments of emotional vulnerability, or even in simple gestures of presence, the absence of that person resonates intensely, leaving a painful void. This betrayal isn't always visible or direct, but the psychological impact it causes can be devastating. In relationships, the emotional absence of a partner during critical situations is often a precursor to greater distancing. The lack of support in times of pain, loss, or doubt can deeply shake the trust placed in that person. A relationship that once seemed solid and stable now becomes fragile, marked by a lack of reciprocity. Sometimes this absence is subtle. It can be silence when words of comfort are expected, or unavailability at times when just being present would make all the difference. Over time, the repetition of this behavior erodes trust and creates an irreparable gap in the relationship. The person who feels abandoned starts to question their worth, their importance to the other, and even their ability to attract the support they need in tough times. This form of betrayal is even more painful because it doesn't involve a direct malicious act, but rather the choice not to act, not to be present. The feeling of loneliness, even within a relationship, is often more destructive than the breakup itself. In friendship circles, this kind of absence can signal the quiet end of a relationship. Friends who are only present during celebrations or when things are going well but disappear during challenges show that their connection is superficial. There's no genuine commitment to share life's burdens and challenges, which gradually weakens the bond of trust. The feeling of being alone amidst difficulties without the support of those once considered close can lead to distancing and, in some cases, a sense of bitterness. In the workplace, the absence of colleagues or superiors during crucial or crisis moments reflects a lack of commitment that affects team performance. When things are going well, these individuals are ready to share in the success. However, when problems arise, they disappear, leaving the responsibility of dealing with difficulties to others. This behavior drains group morale, and over time, those who remain on the front lines begin to feel the weight of carrying the team alone. The psychological impact of absence is profound. In times of crisis, people naturally seek support from their social networks. When this network fails, feelings of safety and belonging are shaken. This can lead to emotional isolation, where a person withdraws, fearing further disappointment. The lack of support during critical moments can also create feelings of unworthiness, as if they aren't important enough to receive attention and care, which feeds insecurities and fears. Stoicism teaches us to be resilient in the face of adversity, but it also emphasizes the importance of relationships built on virtue and reciprocity. For Stoics, true friendship and companionship rely on mutual support, being present for one another, especially in times of greatest need. When someone fails to uphold this basic principle of companionship, it shows that their understanding of friendship or love is superficial and utilitarian. This contradicts the Stoic ideal of a life based on virtues, where supporting others is a fundamental part of a fulfilling existence. In the face of this type of betrayal, the challenge is to find a balance between accepting the reality of absence and deciding how to handle it in the future. For some, this may mean reevaluating their expectations and distancing themselves from those who don't share the same values. For others, it could be an opportunity for an open and honest conversation about the hurt caused by the absence and finding a joint solution. The truth is that in times of need, the absence of an important person leaves marks that are hard to ignore. Even if there is forgiveness, the relationship rarely returns to its previous state. The scars from an absence during critical times will always bring back memories of vulnerability and abandonment, influencing how trust is built moving forward. Thus, understanding the motivations and limitations behind someone's absence also requires learning to value those who choose to be present, regardless of the challenges. Absence in moments of need is not just a lack of support, it reflects the true value of relationships. When seeking support and the other person is not there, feelings of helplessness can intensify, creating an environment where distrust and doubt begin to creep in. Each time this absence occurs, the person who expected help may feel increasingly isolated, questioning the quality of their relationships and their self-worth. Friendships and romantic relationships should be built on mutual support and reciprocity. When someone withdraws during critical moments, their absence becomes a form of betrayal that resonates on many levels, from emotional to psychological. This pain is heightened when it becomes clear that the other party does not share the same values of commitment and presence. In professional settings, this absence can have even more serious consequences. The lack of support during high-pressure moments can lead to stress and demotivation, creating an atmosphere of distrust and resentment. Teams that don't support one another may struggle to achieve their goals, affecting both performance and workplace morale. Given this situation, it is essential to seek ways to establish healthy relationships where everyone can rely on each other, especially during tough times. Practicing clear communication of needs and expectations can help strengthen bonds and prevent the pain of absence. Learning to appreciate those willing to commit and support creates a circle of trust that can be extremely beneficial. If you've made it this far, it shows your interest in understanding the nuances of human relationships and the importance of mutual support. If this content resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to catch more videos like this. Thank you for watching until the end, and I invite you to leave a comment about how you handle absences in your relationships. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.